He's flying! Yes! There's history!
Now in front, the crowd roaring, go, Longroll, go, up the 3-year-old in front, Tells Longroll, he's coming, he's going to get there, yes, Longroll won it! Grabbed by My Whisper won the last.
G'day punters, welcome to another episode of the Whispers Racing Podcast. Australia Guineas Day, Melbourne or Sydney, however you want to call it, but it's Guineas Day as always, and I'm joined by Matty. How are you, Matty?
Going well, Worm. How are you, mate?
Yeah, going well, fighting the internet connection, so hopefully this one we get through unscathed. How's your week been?
Week's been good. We'll go early. It looks like the community's had a few winners. They've been exceptional this week.
Yeah, mate. We'll give them an early shout early. They've been really good. Dogs have been good. The horses have been good. Community won for the month. A small win, we'll take it. But, it's been really nice month.
That has been indeed. Contributions from quite a lot. So good to see. Good to see.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. You can just put your thoughts up. We had someone join, I think, last week, and he's been hot at Ascot. So that's been really good to invest in. Don't normally invest in Ascot, but he's got me interested because he sees them quite well. So it's good. So if you want to get involved, please DM. I'll put the email down below where you can email me to sign up. DM one of us on Instagram, Twitter, whoever you follow, however you follow us, and like, subscribe, get them as they drop. You know the drill. If you're thinking about it, just come for 2 weeks, see what it's about. If you don't like it, you can leave. We had someone leave this week. It wasn't for him. That's fine. Not offended. It's all free. No hidden paywalls. We do this for the love of it. So, yeah, come and support us by joining for free. This episode, we're going to do races 2, 4, and 5 from Flemington. Bets around the grounds, multis, pineapples, all throughout the episode. If you're listening for the first time, talking points this week, Matty, we've got 3. Let's start off with the All-Star Mile, my favourite. I love talking about this now. Field came out with emergency. So, as we know, the top 10 is Alligator Blood, I Wish I Win, I'm Thunderstruck, Milk Drinker, Mr. Brightside Nugget, the Inevitable from Tassie, Tuvalu, Jacquino, Keats, Gentleman Roy. 2 runners I don't think run is I Wish I Win and Jacquino. So they go out, and the emergencies would be Fangirl, Cascadian, if they're going to come down to run. What do you think about the field, Matty?
I'm quite happy. My nomination in Gentleman Roy got a run. So quite happy. Interested to see what they do this weekend though with Gentleman Roy. If they go out and attack this as hard as what they would have maybe 2 weeks ago.
We were just talking about it off air. I can't bet into the race. Like, knowing that it wasn't in, I was like, yeah, you can back it. But now I'm not saying they're not going to try, but they might just back off a little bit, make sure he doesn't have that gut buster going into 2 weeks, have him primed, ready to go. He's coming off a little setback as well. So do they scratch and just avoid it completely? It's a hard choice. I don't know what they'll do.
In saying that, it did have an absolute gut buster when it won, then got relegated to second on protest.
Yep.
So maybe the gut busters don't read Gentleman Roy. Who did you land on for your nomination?
So I think I'm going for 4 in a row where I've had a vote and they're finished in the top 10 and they're not going to run.
Okay.
Yeah, I Wish I Win. I voted for. I thought it might go there, but Moody's saying no. So I was part of the 16,000 votes on it. They've got to change it somehow. Put an asterisk next to them saying they're not fully committed. So then people know what they're voting for, because at least that 16,000 votes could have gone elsewhere to someone that's in 11th and 12th. Get them in. It's just, it's a thing they've got to fix. I do know the voting is dropping year by year from 3 years ago. So the numbers aren't getting any better. So that's a bit of a concern and wagering down. So they've got to do something here because it could really just fall by the wayside with the prize money just being good, but it's not going to last forever, I don't think.
Oh, hopefully they come up with a way to re-engage with punters through the voting system.
Yeah, 100%. And if you saw the campaign the Keats trainer and owners put together, it is dead set one of the best marketing campaigns I've seen so far. They were getting cameo videos from the Island Boys, and they did a rap about Keats. It was something different, and it got, look, I have to tip my hat off. That was some of the best I've seen. They did a painting outside Victoria Street, I think, with Keats on it. They did a cameo with Shannon Knoll. They did a cameo with some guy that takes cloths off his body with saying "Vote Keats." Like, it was next level. They deserve a spot just because of their marketing campaign. Don't worry about the horse's ability. That campaign deserved a spot. And to get only 2,800 votes, they deserved more. It was, I'll send you some of them, Matty. They were dead set next level.
Oh, well, good on them.
Yeah, they deserve a spot. Move over to a bit of last week. I was quite vocal on how leaderish the track would be on the lakeside at Sandown on Saturday. And for some reason, it never panned out. I don't know what MRC are doing. Are they worried about the backlash? Because the stats said inside rail was the place to be. And then when I do my review of the meeting, one horse only won on the rail and stayed on the rail. That was Right You Are. That was just the best horse in the race. Then going through races 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, they sat, say, third at the 800 and then one in lane 6. Sat in lane 2, one from lane 5. Sat lane 2, one from lane 5. So they were pushing off the rail. Stats said that wasn't meant to happen. So it was a hot week. Why have MRC watered the inside extra to make it a non-biased track and not be full communication to the punters and participant? I think it's just playing games, and you're just too worried about your brand and your backlash of people betting. I had a few early bets because I thought it was going to be leaderish, and I knew after race 3 that I've done my money already. I always say watch and act, but I was trying to find an edge. Now, they did this 12 months ago, just before the Blue Diamond meeting. They watered the inside because the track said it was going to be leaderish. Now, when a punter's going to wake up, or participants, and call them out on this, I'm going to start it. It's got to stop. If it's to protect the horses, I'm all for it. Do not get me wrong, but watering the inside because you're worried about the backlash on the Saturday night is just not acceptable. What do you think Moonee Valley are doing? It's leader every day of the week there. Do you see them changing the track? No, they just put it up and just say, that's the track. That's what we've got to deal with. MRC, no, they're going next level and just trying to not doctor tracks, but make it more even. Well, I'm not for it. I don't know what your thoughts are, Matty, but yeah, it pissed me off Sunday night when I was reviewing it.
Yeah, look, when you do have a look at the runs, Pericles is the only one that really ducked back into the inside with Jamie Carr on board. But it was still well off the rail.
Yep.
There were a number of races where horses found an edge to go up the inside. It was a very good rides by the jockeys, and looked like they were going up and down the spot. So completely understand what you're saying, and I get what they are trying to do in terms of evening out the track to ensure that every horse has an equal opportunity.
Yep.
I don't necessarily know by over-watering one part of the track, it gives everyone an equal opportunity. So I would prefer that the track is watered evenly, and if there are going to be some lanes that are more suited, let the better jockeys find them. Now, we don't want a repeat of what happened in Caulfield a couple of years ago, where you had an absolute monorail up on the rail. Don't want to go back to those type of scenes, but I have never really seen Sandown play with that type of bias that we saw at Caulfield a few years ago. So I understand what you're saying, especially if you are trying to assess track conditions and you're finding out on the day that a certain part of the track has been watered more than another part.
Yeah. If they're open and transparent, I'm for it. But there was no open and transparent. It was only the track walkers that work for .com or other podcasts that were relaying it back late before the first race started. So just go and have a look how many winners won on the rail on Wednesday, and that was Lakeside. So go figure. Last one we'll talk about, Animo. It's come up again. It seems like every time it wins, we've got to announce this horse as a champion. After 8 Group 1s, it's won. People are calling it a champion again. Yes, it's won at age 2, 3, 4. Matty, do you call this horse a champion?
Look, very good horse and probably a champion of the last couple of years. Yep. In terms of going down in history as a champion racehorse of Australia, I think it's got a couple of things it needs to tick off before it can rightfully take its place as a champion within Australian racing. 8 Group 1s, fantastic. Sensational effort, not knocking that whatsoever. It's one of my favourite horses. But there are quite a few decent horses with 10 or more Group 1 wins. Interesting to note, before Sunday, it actually had the same amount of Group 1 wins as Golden 60.
Yeah, okay.
Then Golden 60 went and won over in Hong Kong. Difference being, Animo's won about 11 million. Golden 60's won 25 million.
Yep.
But where do you see Animo?
Look, I'm a firm believer if it gets to 10 and wins overseas, I will call this horse a champion. I can't call it a champion yet when someone like other horses are sitting on 8, like Better Loosen Up, who won a Japan Cup. That's a champion. Mahogany, 8 Group 1s, champion. Very Elegant, 11 Group 1s, champion. Lonhro, 11, champion. Sunline, 13, 2 Cox Plate wins in that, champion. If Animo won at 3 and then 4, I'm happy to put it down as a champion. I'm all for it. I just think he's got to tick that overseas box to join the likes of Sunline, who won overseas. I'm a firm believer if you go overseas and win, you can become a champion. Okay, Winks won 25 Group 1s and didn't go overseas, but 4 Cox Plates is quite relevant to be a champion. So, yeah, 2 more Group 1s, which I believe it gets to. And, yeah, tick that box overseas. Ascot, which it looks like they'll go. Queen Anne, it looks like it'll be. So wins that. I'll be cheering for him to win it. So then we can call him a champion.
I like it. Yep.
Yeah.
I hope it does head overseas as well.
Bloody oath. Can't wait to stay up till about 12 o'clock on a school night cheering home a horse.
We'll be done too.
And then your missus coming out and going, what the hell are you doing? Track stats this week. Rail 2 meters at Flemington. In the straight races, I think they'll play quite fair. You'll have to be up on speed. They'll just use the middle of the track. Barriers will be set in the middle of the track, so they won't be going near the rail, I don't think. But you never know. That's a watch and act. First 4 races, 3 1,000-metre sprints. So you'll get a clear idea later in the day how you think it'll be. Circle races, it's going to be hard to lead all the way. I think horses getting into lanes 4 and 7 with a place to be, just sitting off them to midfield, perfect spot. Every horse gets their chance, as they always do at Flemington, and there'll be nothing like MRC and their watering. Trial trackers this week. We're going to go to Flemington. Race 6, number 15, Opal Ridge, had 1 trial at Scone over 1,000 metres in a time of 1:04. Time is a touch slow, but it did it very, very easy, and you do not see them trial like this very often. If this horse brings its form from last prep against Zoo Got You, Economics, and beating Pericles, this horse is a genuine chance and has come back really well in its jump outs. They wouldn't send it down here for a holiday. it's a very, very hard race, but I think this horse needs to go on your quaddies. I'm going to be backing it just off its jump outs and its form. I think it's around the $7 mark. That's race 6, number 15, Opal Ridge. And if you're watching on YouTube, I will put that clip up because it'll be quite hard to find. As I said, we're going to preview races 2, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, go.
No, well, I was just going to say that race 6, very interesting race. One that we've followed, Citizenship, in that at $20.
Yeah.
So, really interesting race, that one.
Yeah, 100%. I've a firm believer Citizenship goes better than Melbourne way. And when I saw it in the race, I'm like, I'm going to crack it at 20s. But then did my jump outs, did the form of the race. And yeah, this Opal Ridge jump out has been nothing but impressive.
Good ones.
Yeah, good first 4 trifecta race. There's plenty of good horses that are, it could be a lot of future winners in this. Yep, he's good. So we're going to preview Flemington 2, 4, and 5. I'll do 2 and 4. Matty's going to do race 5. I'm going to kick things off here. Race 2, the 2,500 metre open handicap. Now, or quality, as they sometimes like to say. First thing I noticed, I reckon this is a benchmark 90 race. If you take Midnight Blue out, it is a genuine benchmark 90, not a open quality. Pace, I think they're going to be quite slow here. I don't see them having much speed. I'm just trying to bring up the speed map as we talk. I just think they could really go jumper speed here. Lofty Star, Nancho, we'll have the speed map down below. I think they go forward, but they could easily take a sit here and be further back. Youth Spirit might go forward, but the last time it went forward, it went horrible last prep. So I don't think they want to lead. So Unusual, never seen the lead. So, Jesus, could be a bit of a guessing game here. Who actually leads? Midnight Blue probably leads, I think. It's a real sticky map, but because we don't know, I can't see them going that quick. So they could go really, really slow. I'm happy to be here with number 5, Timor. Went well first up, should have finished second first up, but the gap closed late. Second up doesn't bother me because Wallace second up, it's always a no bet or no interest. Finished out the back, no issues there. Third up, the horse sat last and only got through its gears when they straightened up. For some reason, J-Mac just decided to wait until they straightened up, but he was sitting last. Only because of the wide barrier. So no fault of his, but really weird he didn't get into the race until they straightened. When they did straighten, it ran the best 1,200, 1,000, 800, 600, 400 home of the race, and then second best 200 of the race. And even through that, it ran an 11.08 through the 6 to the 4 and 10.76, 400 to the 200. Yes, off a very slow tempo, but you've still got to do it. And this was over 2,000 metres, so I think that's very impressive. Plus, this horse finished third to Baratti, who went to St. Cloud, that's right, in a Group 1 and finished 1 length second. So if it brings that sort of form here, I don't think they're getting close to this horse. They're asking you to take 350. I'm happy to find out. J Carr goes on board barrier 2. I think they're going to sit midfield. I think it can jump with them. Normally, Europeans are slow out of the barriers, but I think it's got gate speed. And just last start, it showed it, but J-Mac decided to go back. Poor barrier, forced him back last start. Better barrier. J Carr on. Tick, tick. Happy to get involved. Number 4 here, So Unusual. Last 3 starts, been good wins. Tick the 2,400 metre box, which I'd love to see. But it's stepping up from a benchmark 78 to 90 now. Might be a big ask for these. I know it's trying to qualify for the Melbourne Cup, and it's going to go into one of the races you win and you're in race. It's coming out of 2 fast races, and it might be just had enough now coming out of 2 fast races. I just don't know if I want to be with it at that price. Number 1, Midnight Blue, best form last prep wins this, but I can't go near a horse with the Bob Peters colours on it and trained by John Lee. I know he's firing at 24% in his last 50, but they were benchmark 64 races he's winning and Monday, Tuesday races. He's now playing with the big boys, and these Bob Peters horses aren't showing a thing. And I can't get excited anywhere near this horse until they do something. Matty, your thoughts?
I like that summary, Worm. There are only two horses that can win this, and it's Timor and So Unusual. I will be with Timor along with you. I think it's going to have an optimal run. Jamie Carr will sit on board, and look, it'll be interesting to see what So Unusual does. I've liked how it's gone about it. I think Timor has got more upside than it, and that's where I've landed.
Geez, if we're on the same boat, that's quite scary. For two blokes that do form completely different ways, yeah, that's a good sign to get involved, punters, if you don't know us well enough. I might have to change the pineapple. You've given me some thinking now. I might have to just take some notes during race 5 when you preview, and yeah, you've got me thinking. Race 4, 3-year-old fillies race, 1,000 metres. I've basically marked this at benchmark 78 for the 3-year-olds. I think there's going to be a fair bit of pace from here, 1,000 metres. A bit of pace on the inside with Bistro and Wild Bell from Perth. And then from barrier 12, we've got Arctic Fairy, who will want to come from across and lead as well. There's going to be a few horses on the hammer. Wild Bell, Lady Laguna, Wave Rider Boy probably sits a little bit closer. So I think the pace is going to be quite good for the 3-year-olds here. In saying that, I'm happy to be here with Wild Bell. This horse wins have been bloody impressive from Perth. It's times that it's been beaten. They've been near the rear in running. But when this horse sits first and second, its wins have been averaged by 4 lengths. Jump on the Tab app, watch these horses win from Perth. I think they're bloody impressive, and I think you will too. What took my eye and why I wanted to be with this, more importantly, was this horse thrashed a horse called Man Crush in Perth, who has finished second to Amelia's Jewel. We know how good this horse is. Yes, it's 1,000 metres, and it's hard to compare 1,000 metres Amelia Jewel's a 1,600 metre horse, but I think that's good enough. Chris Parnham coming to Melbourne to ride this horse, I like that again. So this horse is, when it sits on speed, it is dynamic. I think the only danger I feel is number 3, OJ. He was really good first up at Sandown, hitting the line on the inside on a day you didn't want to be on anywhere near that rail. So that 4th, I think you can add a lot of extra merit to that run. Probably if it sits in the lanes, it probably wins that day. I don't know. I'm worried how far back they might get. As you can see in my speed map, I've got him near last, but he'll be rattling home. Number 1, Lady Laguna, has jumped out good enough first up, and its form reads really well last prep. I just wonder if he's going to be fit enough on a big tempo here where Wild Bell's got a lot of fitness. Matty, your thoughts?
Open race. Where did you say that you benchmarked this?
78.
Okay, cool. Just one I'm interested in, and I've spoken about before, Wave Rider Boy. Last start, only 1.4 lengths behind Rich Fortune.
Yep.
And very, very close to OJ. Now,
yep.
It started last start at $71.
Yep.
Won't get anything near that this time. It's I think it's around about $15, $14 at the moment.
Yep.
But really interested to see how Wave Rider Boy goes down the straight. I think it's got a turn of speed between the 200 and the finish line. They could get it close. Not saying it'll necessarily win this, but really interested to see how it goes down the straight.
Yeah, he's down on the outside. It might be the place to be. Yeah, $11 is crazy. I thought he was tight for room as well at Sandown a little bit. So, yeah, it's been found. When I saw $71 last start and then I saw the pricing and I'm like, oh, I thought he'd be almost 40s. I thought we might have got a price, but, you know, he might drift. Everyone from the podcast might jump on.
Just one I'm really, not really interested to see how it goes down 1,000, but can see how you've landed on Wild Bell.
Yeah. Race 5, Matty, benchmark 84, 1,600, all yours.
Thank you, mate. Look, not an overly deep field, this one, but plenty that do like to sit close. So we'll run through that speed map in a moment, but have you got the odds there?
Oh, yeah, I do. So you're there? Yep, got you. Odds. Favourite Kettle Hill, $4. Top odds. Moonimac, $5. I'm a Shelby, $5.50. Sparkle, $7. 6 Worthily, $10. You can have $13 the rest. All yours.
Perfect, thank you, mate. Look, speed-wise, I can see Worthily on the Shelby, Rumbler, Rebel, and Munamek from out wide fighting out the lead. So I think there is going to be enough pace in this race. Look, where I've landed, the 3 horses I want to discuss is the first one's Munamek. Flew home late over 1,400 metres, up to 1,600. It's really going to suit. But concern here with Munamek Worm is it has been up for a long, long time. It's been super consistent. Barrier number 11 is not going to help. So a little bit of work is going to need to be done by Mark Zara, who jumps onto this from barrier number 11, but has the ability to be right in this. Kettle Hill, last start in Sydney, look, it was just okay. It found the inside of the track and looked like it just took a little while to get going. Definitely inferior ground that it was coming home on. So it wasn't all bad, but Kettle Hill's probably the one with the most upside in this race. 1,800 metres back to 1,600 metres, not ideal. But a win here wouldn't surprise. Kettle Hill, Jamie Carr on board. From barrier number 3, look, again, a win wouldn't surprise. But where I've landed Worm is on top, on the Shelby. On the Shelby is going to be jumping from barrier number 7, which I think is going to be absolutely ideal. What I think it'll do is take the set behind your Worthily, Rumbler, Rebel, Munamek, and get a very, very good position. Then it'll have the opportunity on the bend to find a spot and be in those lanes that you were talking about earlier between 4 and 7. And that's where I think you need to be. So super consistent horse on the Shelby. And I think Mickey D from barrier number 7 will have the perfect ride in this race. In, again, not a very deep race. So $5 on the Shelby, don't mind it. Worm, how did you see this?
Yeah, when I went through this race, instead of calling it the Schweppes Plate over 1,600, I've called this the last chance handicap for Munamek and Kettle Hill. They're dead set on their last chance. Oh, how many chances are you going to give Munamek? Yeah, it's been unlucky the last 2 starts. But, geez, as you said, it's been up a while. It's got to give. Like, put it out, save it for the Winter Championship. It's a genuine Winter Championship horse. From 11, you think they're going forward. I think they're going back. And the thing is, they've got 2 decisions. They can't sit in no man's land midfield. Yeah, they might get a bum to follow, but they could be 3 wide, no cover. Zara's got a huge choice here. Rambler Rebel's going to go a solid tempo. He dead set loses his shit at the barriers, so he just takes off once the gates open. He's going to go a dead set sprinter's speed up front. So Munamek might be able to come across with him from 10 and just slot in and find that gap, but then he might use his juice. Oh, it's a head scratcher. The more I talk about it, the more I'll get a migraine from it. Kettle Hill, he's got Banju form from last prep. Oh, this prep, Banju's form's not too bad. And Sydney's been running really well. Beat Solcombe, good 1,600 metre horse. He was unlucky last start, but geez, how many times do we go to the well with this horse? Like, considering it's SP $290, $4.350. Yeah, it was huge at Sandown, but it hasn't shown anywhere near that since. Does Jamie Carr change the story with it? I don't know. So that's why I've renamed it the last chance handicap on both of them, because I don't know where their next win is. The interesting runner here, and I can't get my head why, and I'm going to try and find out. Queen Air, 3-year-old, 1,600 metre race. Why isn't this in the Guineas? It clearly makes the field if they go to it, but now it's running against open grade horses. Real weird change, thought. I don't know. It's a bloody head scratcher, and the whole bloody race is. So I've got no firm opinion. I'll probably made everyone just confused and going, that was the worst 2 minutes of Worm's opinion, but that's how scratchy the race is. And then you talk about it, I'm a Shelby. Well, I'm going to follow you in because I can't be with the 2 non-winners, and I'm a Shelby has form and you can't say anything bad about it.
I tend to agree, and that's how I did find it. Look, I've got it rated on top, but what really attracted me to it is the runner's going to get in the race from barrier number 7. As I said, the lanes that you were talking about earlier, it's going to find those lanes, and that's where you want to be. So that's how I landed on Shelby. Queen Air was the one you were talking about that could have gone to the Guineas, yeah?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, that I couldn't find too much positive in terms of this race for it. So yeah, interesting decision by whether it be the owners or the trainers.
Yeah, as you said, you've got nothing positive, so we'll move on. Around the grounds, Matty, where are you taking us?
Well, we're going to start off on Friday night. Now, had a decent night last Friday at Canterbury. So we're going to continue the trend. However, we need to head up to Newcastle for a Group 3 in race 7. Now, Crosstalk is our $2 favourite, and we were on Crosstalk a couple of weeks ago, ran second, can absolutely see why it's favourite here at $2. And as long as you can get around that $2 mark, wouldn't be talking anyone out of Crosstalk. But the one that I will be having something on is Arameo. $34 worm. Arameo came 5th in the Hunter Cup last year, and this field is significantly softer. Crosstalk, yes, favourite, $2, probably slightly unders, but not far away from the price it should have. Arameo, though, has the ability to be winning this race. So I'll be having a piece of that at 34s on Friday night.
You must be on New Zealand time because the race is at 4:50. So that would be 6:50 in New Zealand.
6:50?
So 4:50 Friday, Newcastle race 7. So
race 7?
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Any more?
Yeah, mate. Look, I'm going to follow you in with Timor in race 2, as I said. Look, I think that So Unusual is the only other horse within that race, and I'm quite happy to be with Timor there in race 2 in Melbourne. We're going to jump to the end of the card in Melbourne as well. Pinstriped, one of our favourites, looks way overs at $10. So make sure you include that in your multiples, in your quaddies. I think 1,200 metres first up. It's not its ideal distance, being 14 or 16, but it can run a very, very quick 1,200 metres. It's an open race, but I'll tell you what, make sure Pinstriped is in your quaddies. Sydney.
Yep.
For the last of the year around the grounds, we're not jumping off Sulcombe in race 4. Now, up in distance from 16 up to 2,000 metres, expect it to be up to 2,600 metres next start, but it finds a field here that it will be able to beat. The only dangers I see, Sacramento and Atha Buscan. They're the only 2 dangers I see within this race. Again, they're all towards the top of the market, but I think Sulcombe is a very, very good bet for top 3 here in race 4. Worm, that's me for around the grounds. How about yourself?
You could have chopped down a tree at the moment. You're having more bets than a tab ticket machine. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Mate, just got to make sure that we've got a few for the punters.
Yeah, no, 100%, because I'm only going to have one bet around the grounds because I've got the skirt on this week, but I'm going global here. We're going to T-Rapa, New Zealand Derby. I love betting into these races. Race 8, number 1, Sharp and Smart. Punters may remember this horse, what it did last prep against Elliptical in Sydney, then what it did in the Vic Derby, huge in that. Both runs were huge. Been in New Zealand this prep, outstanding prep so far. What I liked about it was the 2,000 metre race last start, 3 wide, no cover, it shouldn't have won. It just was an unlucky ride. It still won. I think it oozes a lot of class. When it wins this, it'll come over and feature in the big Sydney Derby. It'll win at $1.90, $2. I'm happy to get involved. Could start anywhere between $1.70, $1.60. They'll hammer this late because punters will remember this horse. Sharp and Smart, race 8, number 1, T-Rapa, New Zealand Derby. Yep, that does me. Multi, Matty, what are you throwing in the multi this week?
Mate, one that we both like, so we can split this one, but Timor for the win.
Beautiful.
On top of that, Solcombe will be running top 3 in race 4 in Sydney.
I like it. I'm going to throw in Sharp and Smart. It is my second best bet of the day. I'll be having a good crack at this in New Zealand, so I'm going to throw it in the win. 3-leg multi, Sharp and Smart the win, Solcombe the place, Timor the win. That comes to around $8, $9.
Worm, you mentioned that it's your second best.
Yep.
Okay, so we haven't heard the pineapple. It's a new horse. We haven't heard it.
Yep, I was tossing up between these two. There was two of them. I didn't know where to go.
Quiet. I was positive you were going to New Zealand.
Yeah, so was I. I was positive, and then I just had a look at one race, and this horse has jumped out of me, and it does have a New Zealand flavour. So we are going to Randwick, race 7, number 8, Imperatriz. I've probably butchered it, so we'll just go with Imperatriz. Race 7, number 8 at Randwick. 3 from 3 this prep in New Zealand. Lovely wins. It has been smashing Levante. Now, you might remember this horse. It beat Artorias home in last year's Newmarket down the outside. So Artorias is in the same race at around the $7, but Levante beat this home in the Newmarket, and Imperatriz has been smashing them in New Zealand. There's nothing really that scares me in this race. I'm happy to take the $2. I think the New Zealanders coming over this year are a lot better than we've had before. So keep an eye on them. But this one will be winning. Randwick, race 7, number 8, Imperatriz. Matty.
Very good. Very good. I don't think you're wearing the skirt, mate. You've done exceptionally well.
Yeah, I'm going to play a lot of multis, Imperatriz and Sharp and Smart. And if they don't win, there might be no me next week on the podcast. I'm just saying.
No, there's no might they will be. They will be winning.
Yeah. Anything else to add, Matty? That's the gist of the Guineas Day.
That is Guineas Day up north and down here in Melbourne.
Yeah. Next week is Newmarket Day. Used to be Super Saturday. Don't get me started on what they've done. So you can hear my thoughts next week on what's happened there. But yeah, Newmarket next week and probably a massive race in Sydney.
Well, mate, between now and then, just give your NBN supplier a call and make sure it's fixed for next week.
Yeah, I will be, mate. It's been a tough last hour of this internet. So hopefully it comes through all right. I think it will. But, yeah, thank you for joining us as always, Matty. If you want to join our community, you know what to do. We'll be back next week with more thoughts on Newmarket Stokes Day, and we'll just end the show with our favourite man.
I'm not a good person, but it just goes to show that good things do happen to bad people. So anyone out there who's up against the wall, fucking stick to it. Every cent you got, your rent, your electricity bill, if you're going to buy your missus a ring, don't fucking do it. Keep punting. Keep fucking punting.